capitalism trumps the handicap. At the end of a shitty week, all I look forward to is happy hour with a good friend at one of our favorite local Mexican restaurants. Cars had already filled the tiny parking lot. As I drove up to the handicap parking spaces, my bad mood worsened. A long plastic table occupied a handicap space. I caught the eye of the woman who had set up a similar looking table from across the table that illegally blocked the handicap space. I pointed to my handicap placard and pointed to the table as if that nonverbal communication would convey to her to move the damn table out of my way. Her attention returned to her wares. I sat there fuming and brainstorming several scenarios, including getting out of my car to push that table out of my way, when a couple, who were parked 2 spaces down from the violated space, left. Although my immediate situation had been remedied, the battle had not been won. As I approached the restaurant, I whipped out my phone and I took several pictures. When the hostess greeted me, I told her I needed to see a manager about the vending table in the handicap parking space. She looked confused. Fortunately for both of us, my friend had already arrived at the restaurant and intervened. I breathed deeply, actually proud of myself for not yelling. The hostess attempted again to engage me into the conversation about how big our party was. I turned my back to her while my friend answered. We ended up on the patio in the shade where, if I just turned my head 90 degrees to the left, I could see the capitalists fucking over every handicapped person who may have wanted that parking space. I chose not to do that. One thing I realized about myself is that I need to work on being more empathetic. At the very least, I didn't want to sabotage our happy hour, so I stewed in my own angry juices while asking my friend how she had been since I'd last seen her. I calmed down by focusing on her, and truly, she was a good friend since she had texted me before I'd arrived a warning ahead about the handicap space. I just didn't read it in time. After a few sips of the creamiest coconut margarita ever, I articulated the bias society has against those of us who are permanently handicapped but ambulatory. No one can see the metal pins in my left ankle, or how I sit with my left foot propped up most of the time when I'm at home, or how I wear copper sleeves on my left knee and ankle when I sleep, or how I make a batch of turmeric pills periodically so I can take 2 every day, or go to yoga 4 times a week to work on my tight hips and my creaky knee and my metal enhanced ankle, or how I appear to walk, or how I never walk up and down a flight of stairs without holding on to the railing, even if I have to carry something. I'd much rather make 2 or 3 trips rather than to suffer another serious fall. Instead of dwelling on the things that I have to do to not appear permanently handicapped, I pursue happiness with as little limping as possible. So I slowly walked away, minding my own business, when some random guy in the parking lot started yelling at me, "You ain't handicapped! You ain't handicapped!" I was actually happy that he couldn't tell that I was, or that I am. What I try to project is strength, because that matches my personality. Yet I respect my physical limitations, even though I attempt to shift those boundaries, just like any other thing that's not governed by an immutable law of physics. My friend and I enjoyed our dinner, talking each other off the ledge, venting about our jobs. Another friend joined us an hour later, bringing her own wonderful energy. At the end of dinner, I asked for the check and the manager. With a civil tone, I told the manager that his restaurant was one of my favorites, and I had been going there since 2004. Then I pointed out my car, the one with the handicap placard. Next, I pointed 90 degrees to my left. I explained to him that the woman who'd set up in the handicap parking space to sell things was committing a crime. Also, I wanted to give him a heads up since I'd taken pictures and report the incident. He said he hadn't realized the situation but would talk to the restaurant owner. Now, I'm not going to stake out the restaurant, but I have researched and reported the incident via email to 311, complete with pictures. I hope that's all it takes. My intention isn't to shut down the restaurant or sue, but to ensure that other handicapped patrons of that restaurant have access to those designated spaces. It's not enough to have handicapped parking if there is no access. Besides, it's my civic duty to speak up. Just like voting and paying for my financial obligations, many handicapped people have fought to be treated as first-class citizens, just like Black people and women. They all fought so people like me can be autonomous. I'm not going to suffer in silence nor shirk my responsibility. I'll police those rights. Prepared another thing, or I was preparing another thing, but this was the last thing that pissed me off recently, and I thought, you know what, this is why I write, 'cause either that or it will keep me up at night. And speaking of one person who stayed up all night,